There was a ratings bump, of course. Like any other famous person, if they went to the game, there would be or was dating one of the athletes, there'd be a bump. All about the ratings. They're still together. I don't know what the hell everybody's talking about. I think people are so miserable that if they see happiness, they don't believe it's real. I think sometimes that's what happens. I really do. I think sometimes people are like, happiness isn't real. I don't have it. How could they have it? Well, I think the millions of dollars and accomplishing things in their career field might have something to do with it, but I could be crazy. But Travis is now dealing with some drama over a tweet that he put out. I think, yes, let me see here. 4/4/10. 2010. If memory serves, Twitter came out in 2009, maybe the tail end of 8. But I remember a program director burst through the door telling me there's a brand new social media. Nobody has any idea what this is. You need to download it right now. I want you on this right now. I was still doing afternoons when that was the thing. I left that radio station November 17th, 2009. So it was before then. And nobody did know what Twitter was. Nobody really did know how to use it. Ha ha ha. So people are upset with me. Okay, so it's back in 2010. Travis is an older man than he was then. In social media, projecting? Or is somebody projecting? Oh, dye your hair another color. Right, like, enough is enough. But, like, that's kind of what happens now. But that's not what happened then. Sense of humors were different. Sensibilities were different. Doesn't mean better. Doesn't mean worse today. It means different. Some sensibilities are worse today than they were then. Some are better. But absolutely nothing about that would have got you in trouble in 2010. I know for sure because I said it every Easter. My favorite trick was the walking on water part. Suck it, Christian. Right? Because again, I told you earlier this hour rather, little mean, little bitter over some things that happened in my life, so I was going to exact my revenge via microphone. I did this a million times. I saw a million cakes yesterday. Jesus on top of the cake. YOLO! Just kidding! None of the jokes are funny. Mine weren't funny. That cake's not funny. This Travis Kelce thing's not funny. None of them are funny. They're observant. They're not funny. But we're really going to crucify this kid over something that happened in 2010 where he's I want to be able to make fun of all religions, including the one I grew up with. I want to be able to poke fun at that. And so I have to leave room for other people to be able. People are different today. They're not really. What they are is afraid of everybody else telling them, you're intolerant because you said this. When in reality, no, they're not. I've said this a million times. I've seen this change that happened with the radio too. It used to just be, dude, just come up with the line. Where can the brain go? What can you think of? What's the line? And you were seen as creative if you could keep pushing that envelope. Somewhere through social media, it became everything you say and or do is indicative of your entire belief structure. That is, of course, craziness. But that's what we've turned this all into. And so that's what they've just been. You're not going to do it. But social media would tell you the fact that you thought it ever. You're a murderer. We just don't know yet. Yet it's funny because they'll tell you that a minor attracted person isn't a pedophile because they haven't touched a kid yet. Well then, how come he doesn't hold up across all lines of argument? Of course not. Is this really a big deal? No. And if to destroy the fabric of this something, you think her fans are all young and soulless and want to destroy this country. And it's because some of them are young and soulless and want to destroy this country. But you think that's all of them. So why on earth would they have a Jesus? wouldn't they be celebrating this? This isn't going to be an issue for Taylor or her fans. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet a lot of them are celebrating it.
To all the teachers who said he'd never amount to anything. Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9, 9 a.m. We'll make a concert announcement and then pass out some tickets for said show. Every Monday at 8, we talk to my buddy, the co-founder of waitingfornextyear.com. You can find Scott there. You can also find him on the X platform at WFNY Scott. My man, how was your weekend? Did you have a good holiday and all of that?
Yeah, man. Good stretch of days. Started off Friday, and then, got rounded out yesterday. But, yeah, no complaints. I have a question for you, though. We gotta peel back the curtain really quick.
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So, the last song you played last Monday was Wrong Monday at 8, and this...
Back. So, I hate Sublime with a passion. Like, cannot stand them. But they're...
So haven't been right before Scott jumps on it.
Well, no. What it is that band knew they sucked. Like, they knew they were terrible, and so all of their songs are really, really short. This segment normally runs a little long, and so I try to play short things into it, or after I'm done with you, normally the first song back is also really short, too. So normally you'll get a little Black Sabbath Paranoid there, Wrong Way, or something in that 2-minute 40-second range so I can help get my clock back on time. That's really what that's about. But that was
so I'm too wordy is what you're telling me.
No, the segment to be long, but there is a clock that has to be manhandled there, and that was a funny observation by you because that's exactly why that does.
I appreciate it. I was real quick. How was your weekend? Everything good?
My weekend was great. I made birdie on number 4 Friday afternoon, and so that's all I can be happy about. That's fine. Had a good holiday yesterday. Got caught up with everybody. Perfect holiday, except for the Cavs getting blown out last night. Now they did play Denver, the best team in the league, I'm told. But they lost 130-101, man. Like, what is going on in that locker room with the Cavs? Can they just not get up for excellent competition? Is there a locker room cancer? Is there just we're packing it in? What do you make of all of that?
I honestly think they're just not as good as the Nuggets. I mean, I hate to be oversimplistic about it, but
no, it's probably true.
Nuggets on the road now are if they play 10 times, are they losing that big? All of them, probably not.
Okay, that's fair.
But you're Denver, they're repeating champs. They're probably they have the far and away odds-on favorite to MVP in Nikola Jokic, and it's just not a. I mean, I think it just shows while the Cavaliers are among the better teams in the NBA, there's still a tier above them that they're probably not missing right now, right? If you're talking, Denver, Boston, if you want to put the Thunder in there, you probably could. I'm not crowning the Timberwolves just yet, but they're playing well. But other than that, there's probably those 4 teams. Maybe Philly with Embiid if he comes back full health. There may be another one in there, but
big F in there.
The Cavs are just the Cavs are just in that. Milwaukee's, if you want to put the Suns and some of those Western teams that are a game and a half apart, you could probably do the same. They're just not there, and bummer, not great. I think if they don't look as poor the last couple of weeks heading into that game, we just kind of. I think yesterday was also a bit of a referendum on how poor they've been playing since the All-Star break, and every time they lose, it's like
But the Guards have looked pretty good, man. I mean, they're now 3-1, half game back behind Detroit, from what I understand. Biebs on opening day, nails they called it. As a matter of fact, Guardians players were telling media. When the A's players were on base, they were telling guys at their position, I can't see his stuff today. Like, I can't see this guy today. Apparently, he was just outright he was dominant. 11 strikeouts for crying out loud. And the run production for the Guardians has been really good this far, and that's where a lot of people thought we were going to suffer. Is this more about the A's aren't any good, or are the Guardians' bats a little bit better than we had expected them to be?
Maybe a little bit of both. Bieber's outing was 11 strikeouts in 6 innings, which is crazy.
Really good.
There was just a handful of non-strikeout outs were obtained. But I think the first, if you want to say 4 bats, 5 maybe, depending on the lineup, and for the looking great. I think Vogt has done a decent job of sort of mixing and matching the platoon guys in there a little bit. David Fry had a really good stretch. You saw Rocchio had a clutch play or two, over the course of the weekend. So some of these younger guys who were trying to see what they can do, they performed, right? Now they were down yesterday heading into the ninth, and it was the top of the order that got it done, right? That tied it up, and then they obviously couldn't get the win based on a handful of things, including bullpen implosion. But it was your Naylor had the game tying RBI with Posey on second base, right? I mean, that's exactly what this team is constructed to do. Now let's see how they do against for example, they're going to be playing Seattle here, coming
tonight
up like that. They're a good team.
Yeah.
Very good team, and let's see if they can keep it going. But no, I mean the team's brand, if you're looking for one, is quality pitching. Couple key perennial all-stars, if not perennial MVP candidate at the top there, and then you want some of these younger guys to continue to develop. I mean, you could still call Stephen Kwan young, right? I mean, he's not. And he's at the top of that lineup, and he had a solid start. So which is great to see. You don't want to see it shrivel up if it gets cold. When they come back here, but if you're going to start one way or the other, you're going to be one of the 5 teams in baseball that were undefeated until yesterday. So hopefully they can keep it going. Arms look good, top of the lineup looks good, and if these young guys can keep mixing and matching some of their production. Vogt may look like a genius early on in terms of picking his spots, but we wouldn't overreact to a loss, if they started that way. But certainly better than the alternative starting out the way they have.
Absolutely. Cookie Carrasco back too, coming back from pretty serious injury concerns there, right? And made his first start in quite a while, I think since 2020. Struck out 3 batters over 5 innings. Signs of life in Cookie there? Do you believe the club's going to be able to rely on him moving forward this season?
It depends on what you mean by rely. I mean, you're not starting him game 1 of the ALDS, but okay. I mean, if you can get some quality innings like you saw, and just stay healthy. Clearly fan favorite. For his time here prior. But he's certainly, you're not counting on him the way you're counting on Bieber, Bybee, a couple of these other guys. McKenzie, if he could stay healthy, those sort of arms are going to be what sort of drive results. But if you can get Carrasco to fill in as well, think of him almost in that Quantrill sort of role, right, where you're you back end of the rotation, but. If you could surprise some folks or have a good stretch of dominant ball, that's exactly what's going to help this team win.
All right, I'm talking to Scott from waitingfornextyear.com. You can find Scott on X at WFNY Scott. And I'm going to ask you this question. I'm probably going to ask you every week, and it's probably way too early to ask you right now. How do you feel about Stephen Vogt thus far? Like, this guy's going to be under the microscope all year, probably the next 2 years because of who he took over for. And people thought it was going to be, rats jumping off the sinking ship. And I got to tell you, it looks like he has this clubhouse working together. Am I overstating that? Is it too early to even go there? Or what'd you make of his first couple of outings out?
Yeah, certainly you're not going to, a 4-game sample isn't going to, determine, ultimate success. I have no reason to be unhappy with what he's done. I know we tend to, Twitter, I should say, tends to hyper-analyze lineups when they come out at 5:30.
Oh, my God, he's going to do this at 3.
And, it seemed to have worked so far. I know people were very unhappy that Bo Naylor wasn't in the starting lineup for, the first couple games, and they did go with Austin Hedges. Worked out okay. And it was, Bo Naylor who got picked off at third base for what would have been the game-winning run yesterday in Oakland. So there's a little bit of poetry there, but it is going to be 2 things are really going to determine. Well, 3 are going to determine Vogt's success in his first season. getting the platoon right, because you're going to have to mix and match some of those guys the way he did already. I think so far so good there. Knowing when to go to the bullpen and who to go to, right? I think you probably you probably want to put Morgan in a little earlier than you did yesterday, and not hand him no outs, bases loaded, and hopefully he can get out of it. That stuff like that I think will be looked at a little bit.
Okay.
And Tito really got skewered for going to the bunts too much, and you didn't see much of it this weekend. They weren't giving away outs, and I think the one bunt that they did have late in the game yesterday was done with the purpose of getting on base, because the third baseman was just playing so far back, right? It wasn't, you weren't giving away an out in a finite out sort of situation. And I think Tito really went to that, way too often over the distance. And I know some of the, especially hyper analytical, folks, certainly didn't like that. So we'll see what happens. But so, it's again 4 games, but passing so far, and it seems like the guys would, really want to play for him and are getting along pretty well. So that's the kind of culture you want to see. The culture carrying forward a little bit from Tito, but also, that's tough shoes to fill, and he's doing it so far.
Yeah, I don't envy anybody that goes in after a legend. I honestly don't. That's Scott from winningfornextyear.com. You can find him at the site, winningfornextyear.com. You can also find him on X at WFNY Scott. Next Monday, 8 o'clock, he'll be right here on the program. Buddy, have a great week.
You too, buddy. Thank you.
Have a good one. Yeah, we'll actually be talking to him on, that's the home open. Is it not next Monday? I believe this coming Monday is what that would be. I believe that is a massive, huge name in the entertainment industry. Says she's done over the online hatred. I told you this was coming, and here it is. Let's get to it next.
It's cool when you get up and you feel instantly connected to the world.
The Stansberry Show. I don't know what it is.
I got him on every morning.
On Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9. Well, now that the venue already posted it on social media, I guess I'm allowed to tell you that the Black Keys are coming. That show in October, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Now I'll have tickets for you next hour and all this week on the I was on like a hush email, like, shh, don't tell anybody about that yet. Okay, fair enough, I won't. But once the venue talks about it, I can talk about it, right? Yeah, it's kind of how I feel about it. All right. So I remember saying a few years ago about social media, wait till the movers and shakers, the influence makers, are tired of the comments. And when they realize, I already have my money. I've made money off my songs, my movies, or whatever the hell it is that I do for the world. I got the fame and I got the money already. The hell do I need this thing with everybody yelling at me for? Hey, I want a nagging wife in my pocket. Right? Like, that's essentially what social media has become. Like, hey, you want a Karen on the go? Here's Instagram, bitch. Download it today. I mean, that's kind of what we have turned this into. But I remember saying, it's like, these people are going to be done hearing about it. And they're going to turn it over to their social media directors. It'll be mostly just about what's going on with the tour. Here's when the album's coming out. We're doing a recut of the movie. Whatever it is, it'll just be a promotional tool. It's kind of what it started out as. Everybody kind of moved into it. No, this is where I live my life. And then every celebrity was like, wait a minute, I have all this money. The hell am I doing this for? This is idiotic. I'm not doing this anymore. And then it went back to being a little bit of a promotional tool. And I'm for everybody having their voice. A man I respect a great deal, I've liked everything he's ever done, is a man named Aaron Sorkin. Aaron wrote A Few Good Men. He did The West Wing, which I like a lot. He did The Newsroom, I believe, for HBO. He wrote the Social Network movie about Facebook. And he once said, I'm all for everybody having their voice. Social media has given everybody a megaphone. And I'm not sure that's a good idea. He may end up being proven right about it. We'll see. We will see. A massive celebrity, and I'm talking about her fame, not her size here, is said she's done. Not even. I'm constantly up against lies being told about me for clout and views, being the butt of the joke every single time because of how I look. My character being picked apart by people who don't know me and disrespecting my name. I didn't sign up for this S. I quit. Yes, you did sign up for it. Fair or not, you knew what fame was. You, like most people, while you were chasing it, decided to only focus on the good parts of fame because of how bad you wanted it. You wanted the money. And you wanted everybody telling you how great you are. But that's not the only thing fame brings. Fame brings this with it. That's the price of admission. What did you think all the money was for? Did you honestly think the money was just for this? Are you dumb enough to think that this song is worth everything you got paid?
They gotta be great.
It isn't.
I just took a DNA test, turns out
the money is for dealing with the public. That's why they pay you the money. Because of what happens to you, what happens to your kids, what happens to your husband, what happens to your family, your mom, your brother, whoever. They're all in it now. That is what the money is for. Again, I just talked about Michael Jordan. Dennis Rodman once said, I play the games for free. You're paying me to deal with everything that comes with the fact that I'm the guy that plays the games. He's right. He is absolutely right. Lizzo did sign up for this. You went out of your way to be this. And beyond all of that, young lady, it turns out you're a total fraud. You're a fierce queen who can't wait to slay. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. Keep telling me, haters, you're just fueling me. Really? Is that why you're cutting bait and running? You don't have to read everything that gets said about you. You don't have to respond back to everybody who comments to you. Pick and choose your moments, Lizzo. You see an idiot who says something, flame their ass for a couple of minutes and move on. You're human. Everybody will understand it. But you're going to allow these people to knock you off your thing? And I'm supposed to celebrate you for being fierce? I'm supposed to be afraid of, like, the woman power thing? I've said about people messing with her weight, right? She's the butt of the joke. The fat Axel memes were funny. The fat Vince Neil memes are funny. Neither one of those dudes cry about that. They both just get out there and give you stadium shows. Which, by the way, they both sell more tickets than Lizzo does. They had to rope off seats the last time she played in Cleveland because nobody wanted to go. Quit telling me how fierce you are, how you're a queen, how all this, it's all lies. It's all built on this is what you wish you were inside. You're going to allow the haters? You can literally turn off your mentions, you dope. So maybe just do that. If Vince Neil and Axl Rose and every other fat, Rick Ross, every other fat dude has to deal with this and has to deal with social media telling them they should be the pitch man for pudding or whatever the hell else is the thing, then why doesn't Lizzo have to deal with it either? Why is it fat shaming Lizzo and we're just teasing Vince Neil? There is no reason for that. That's why I asked the question. There is no reason. Turns out she is absolutely nothing she said she was. By the way, do people forget what the people on the crew were saying about Lizzo? I think people are forgetting that. So I'll remind you next.
And you know what that conniving trickery is called?
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show. We're on Rock 106.9, online for you at WRQK.com. Take a look at what's happening with Disney. We'll do that next hour on the program. There's also something else we should maybe talk about next hour too, so we'll cram that in there too. What we had been talking about is Lizzo. She said this via social media. I'm tired of putting up with the being dragged by everybody in my life and on the internet. I find that interesting. In your life too, huh? So it's not just the strangers on the internet who are hating on you. It's people who know you, close to you. Interesting. All I want is to make music and make people happy and help the world be a little bit better than how I found it. Is that really what you want, though? Like, I'm guessing not. She goes on to say, but I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it. Some people don't. That's me interjecting that. I'm constantly up against lies being told about me for clout and views. Said every famous person ever, Lizzo. Like, seriously, every famous person ever. This is not new. Quote, being the butt of the joke every single time because of how I look. My character being picked apart by people who don't know me and disrespecting my name. I didn't sign up for this S. I quit. So people are taking this as if she's going to quit the music business. We all know she's not. By the way, were you just like the main attraction the other day for the current president and 2 former presidents at like this big gala I was told was such a big deal? You were the thing. By the way, last year, Lizzo, weren't you like the main attraction for the I Heart Yacht Party where they rented a yacht for too much money, got your big ass out there to perform for like the brass of this company? Weren't you that? You did that, right? So, I don't understand. People are picking on you? Okay. I wish people wouldn't do that too. And much like I defend an athlete who's like, boo, hiss, you suck, that's fine. You go to racial slurs or other stuff, leave it out of this. But if an athlete gets too chubby, we talk about it. If a man gets too chubby, we talk about it. The reason why people are on Lizzo about the weight is because the Daily Beast and Slate and Guardian, they all started to write articles about how she is actually the poster woman of health. You can search, those articles exist. That's of course crazy, and we know that's not true. But we had to celebrate her. We had to do it because she's a strong, fierce queen, and men are they cower in the corner to it. Except for she's the one running and hiding from it now. Turns out she's 100% a bitch, not the bitch. Might want to take that DNA test again, Lizzo. Like, enough is enough. Like, I'm sorry about this, but like at the end of the day, like she's not dealing with anything nobody's ever dealt with. She just can't handle it. This is the price of fame. This is what comes with it. You're lucky to be there. We made you who you are. That's the rhetoric. That's how people see it. They want to take ownership of you. Is that fair? No. But you saw it happen to every person before you. This is like when I would say about the Behind the Music. How many episodes of Behind the Music do we need? Got together, everybody was best friends. Band got big, singer then started to believe it was all him. Meanwhile, the guitar player writes everything, then we broke up. Every episode, goddamned ever. Like, it's literally, how did you not, the roadmap is laid out in front of you. Why are you acting surprised by any of this? By the way, do we remember what Lizzo had been accused of and apparently guilty of? Oh, well, let's remind everybody. When she was pushing her crew and backup dancers to attend a live sex show at a venue in Amsterdam, the Banana Bar, she then pressured them to engage with performers, including eating bananas protruding out of performers' vaginas. Just trying to make sure the world's a better place, though. She's just trying to make sure she leaves that world better than she found it. Guys, come on. Former Lizzo dancers were weight shamed and pressured to lose weight. Her, celebrate the weight. She takes pictures without any of her clothes on all the time and then tells you you're the problem, not her. And then what? Pressured the other dancers around her to lose weight. Well, that wasn't her. That was the label, or it was the choreographer or whoever. Okay, but she's the attraction. So if she hears about that and doesn't put an end to it, we have a problem. She's literally guilty of all this stuff she's telling everybody they're guilty of with her. She's guilty of it all. I don't see the issue here. That's the price of fame. That the person who hates their life and wasn't lucky enough to land a job where they're lucky to have it, that's their luck. That they get to say whatever they want about the celebrity. And social media has created an avenue for that to come to your front door. You didn't used to have to hear it from everybody. You can block senders. You can turn off your replies. That's becoming more and more popular on social media, where people are like, I'm posting and only people I interact with can reply to my post. You can read it. You're not interacting with it. Now, most people don't do that because, well, the money's made in the engagement, not in the posting. It's made in the engagement. And so people are looking for comments all over the place. Lizzo's not necessarily looking for the social media money. She's got enough of the cash from the other thing, which is exactly why I said 10 years ago and have been saying since, wait till the celebrities are like, I'm not dealing with this. I make real money. What am I doing this for? Let the stupid influencer that doesn't want to get a job, let them post on YouTube and deal with this. I'm not dealing with it. I'm Lizzo, for crying out loud. I understand it. But her whole thing is that she's this bad bitch and she's fierce and you can't knock her out and you're intimidated by her. Meanwhile, she's running from you.
He's a man of many talents, but he does not have the talent for keeping quiet.
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Just announced this morning the Black Keys, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse, that show. Saturday night, October 12th. I'll have tickets for you by the end of this hour and then the rest of this week on the show as well. Looking forward to that show. I saw them at Blossom, I think. Was that last? Yeah, I think it was last summer. Yeah, well, last summer. They were great. Great. Dan ended up telling this story about being a parking lot attendant at Blossom. You know, he used to work the parking lot there. That was kind of a cool thing that kind of happened, right? You're there in that moment. You're in the crowd. Their local boys made good and all that. It was an awesome night. They were great that night. So we'll get you into the Black Keys. All right. I wasn't really planning on talking about this, but something happened over the weekend, and it did not go well. So I got sucked into some online advertising the way a lot of people do. And actually, it just piqued my interest, but then somebody in my building was like, oh, dude, get one of those. You're going to love it, right? So my boss and I were having the conversation about this company, and you may have heard of them. They're called Tushy. Do you guys know what that is? They make bidets. And a bidet, for anybody that doesn't know, is, well, washing the butt with water versus, like, scraping the opening with paper there, I guess is the other way to say that. There's no real good way to talk about that, right? And so the Tushy bidet is inexpensive. And so I went to Amazon or wherever and I looked, and then I watched all the installation videos, and I was like, that all seems easy. This thing's under $50. It was like, it felt like a pretty, I mean, it cost you $50 to go to a fast food joint today. So I was like, for $50, I was like, I think it was like $38 or whatever the hell it was. It's like a pretty low entry point for me to like kick the tires on this thing and see if I like it. I have used a bidet in Vegas and years ago and like all of this stuff, but I haven't really been a regular user of said product. And so it was pretty late Saturday night. I decided, all right, I'm going to put the thing together. I'm going to do it. And so I get off the couch and I'm like, all right, let's go do it. According to the YouTube videos, it takes 10 whole minutes. All right, fine. Let's do it. So you get it out of the package and it cools out. And I get the whole thing together. And then I go to lift the toilet seat. Because it's like, well, I got it on there. Now I want to sit on it. I want to see it like I want to see, right? And I didn't even have to go to the bathroom. Like I did. So I was like, well, let me just lift the seat. Well, it turns out, apparently, the toilet seat I have doesn't fit with the Tushy. Because, like, I couldn't even lift the seat. The thing kept pushing it back down. I was like, all right, well, maybe I got to sit on the seat itself, and then it'll sit up against the tank the way it should. No. Like, you could tell it was like there was a point of restriction there. I was like, this isn't going to be right. So then I went to go take the whole damn thing off. And now I'm like full-blown Stansberry about it. It's late Saturday night. I knew I shouldn't have started this. Now I'm mad. Oh, goddamn! Right, and like I'm in that mode. So I get the whole thing. Now you got to attach the water line in your bathroom to the toilet to the Tushy. That's how it gets its water, right? And so you have to attach the water line to it, and then you connect that line back to the main line, and you know that's how it goes. So I'm now taking the $30 bidet, which I should have known right then and there. I was headed for a nightmare like that. You know, I mean, these things used to be thousands of dollars, but hey, no, it's $26 now, right? You're gonna love it. And so I'm now trying to take the thing back apart. So what happens? Well, of course, the water line that you attach to the bottom of the assembly of the tank of the toilet, it's got, and I'm mechanically an idiot, so like I don't know, but it's got like a device you spin to tighten, right? And that, of course, stripped when I was trying to put it back together. So I think to myself, okay, it's late. I'm going to be spending most of tomorrow with her. I'll be fine. Like, it'll all be fine. And I'll just go to bed and, things will be okay. And I said, I'll go to the hardware store first thing in the morning. Like, not first thing for me. They won't be open. But so sure enough, I wake up yesterday and I'm like, man, I got to pee. It's like, all right, well, thank God for the utility. I only have the one bathroom in my house. By the way, I hear this all the time. Oh, easy for you to have that opinion in your ivory tower. Yeah, my 2-bedroom ivory tower with one bathroom. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I could afford an ivory tower. I just chose to be, smart and not did that. But ivory towers! I hear that kind of stuff all the time, and it's ridiculous. So I only got the one bathroom there. And so the toilet is like, well, I could not use it. So I found myself urinating in the utility tub in the basement yesterday, flushing that out with some hot water. And then luckily, like I said, I had things to be doing yesterday. I was outside of the house. But I woke up this morning and, we had the morning constitutional happen, right? And I was like, all right, we're getting dressed and headed to the office fast this morning. Had to get in and out of there. Tried my hardest to try that bidet, because apparently wiping your ass means you're dirty, and if you wash it with the water and then just dab a little, that's going to be cleaner. I can understand it. I've seen the peanut butter method shown online, where if it's like if you wipe peanut butter, what happens versus if you wash it, right? That whole kind of thing. Sorry to have ruined the GIF for you this morning. Sorry to have done that. But I tried like hell to get that thing assembled, so now I got to go and get a new water line today. And apparently I have to get a new toilet seat, because the one I have does not fit. Like, it does not fit. You can't lift the damn thing, and there's only one way to connect it. You put the toilet seat on top of the tushy, you got the plastic screw that goes all the way through, and you connect it, and it should just be easy. But apparently there's some special brand of toilet seat that I don't know about that's going to fit this thing properly, and mine doesn't. Universal application for the toilets, but apparently the seat is the issue. So this is normally where I would tell you, man, this product, you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. It's going to change your life, man. But I have no idea anything about it, because, my anger got the best of me, and I can't even flush my toilet now. So now I cannot wait to get out of here and go get a goddamn water line so I can try to get my bathroom back together. And you know what? I think I'm going old school. I think I'm going screw the trees, and I'm keeping the paper.
The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9. We'll get you hooked up with these Black Keys tickets in a moment. A show in October, I believe on a Saturday night, the 12th, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Those tickets on sale, I believe, this morning, 10 a.m. And I'll get you in, and then all this week I'll have those for you, too. Earlier, we were talking about Lizzo. She was talking about how, all right, kind of done with the haters. Kind of done. Need to leave the business. I don't think this is her saying she's leaving the business. I think this is her saying she's leaving social media. But she said, I'm getting tired of putting up with being dragged by everybody in my life and on the internet. All I want is to make music and make people happy and help the world be a little better than how I found it. But I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it. The world doesn't want any of us in it. If I can pause here, the world doesn't really want us in it. Like, it doesn't. I'm like, oh, thank God Stansberry's here. Oh. But I thought you didn't care what anybody thought about you. Haters are your fuel, or whatever the hell else lie people try to tell themselves, so they can look tough. You care what other people think of it. Everybody does, including celebrities. She goes, my character is being picked apart by people who don't know me and disrespecting my name. I didn't sign up for this, I quit. A lot of people said, oh, she's leaving the music business. I don't think that's what she's leaving. She might leave social media. Maybe she'll leave this business. But I did get this. How stupid are you going to look tomorrow when she comes out and says, April Fools? How stupid am I going to look that she posted it the day before April Fool's Day? I'm going to look smarter than Lizzo is. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm going to look smarter than she is. Well, I did it that everybody knows outside the bounds of for the lack of a better term, the holiday. I don't think this was April Fool's. I think she honestly just was pissed off and said something, the way we all do on social media occasionally. You know, an email went out from the company I think last week. All right, guys, understand the climate, right? And there is so little direction of content. Like, this is how my company looks at it. Here's all the rope you need. If you hang yourself with that rope, dog, that's on you. That's how it's do it, don't do it. Do whatever you want. If they get mad, then we're going to pretend we're mad too, and we'll fire you. There's very little direction on what you talk about. Very little. So when you actually get an email about something, you're like, oh, what? Because it just doesn't happen all that often. I was like, oh my God, I completely forgot about April Fool's Day. And all the email said was, be a little careful. Do what you want, have a little fun, but be careful. You know people are lawsuit centric. You know there's issues out there. You know there's stuff. Be a little careful. So I swung by the boss's office on Friday. And I said, hey, I saw your email. He said, good. He goes, I wasn't really expecting you to do it for April Fool's Day. I said, of course not. I'm not 13 years old. I think the big thing one of the shows I was a part of did is like Trevisano was on MMS and Maxwell's show went over to TAM. Oh my God. Like, look out, pretty crazy, man. That was like the extent of like joking around for April Fool's Day in my radio career. I don't even really feel like April Fool's Day is a thing anymore. It's what I said to him Friday. I was like, man, I got to tell you, like, there are more prank shows than ever before. And 90% of online influencing is either local eats lady says eat here, right? There's that. Or there's the influencer steals people's luggage off the luggage return at the airport and then people get mad at him. Like 90% of influencing is April Fool's shows. And it happens every single day in every month all year long. There's no reason to have a calendar day set aside for, hey, we're going to screw with people here. Trolling is the 11th commandment. Thou shalt troll. That's the 11th commandment. That's who we are now. There's no need for April Fool's Day anymore. Everybody does something awful online and then goes, well, just screwing around for views and like, oh my God, we're going to be fine. Like, there's people who literally just walk through Walmarts now and like pull your cart over on its side and then tell you to clean it up. Apparently that's online influencing these days. So when the world's filled with that, imagine thinking that there's going to be big elaborate schemes. There isn't. By the way, it's also, people ask me all the time, dude, how come there's no Metallica in the parking lot moment here? For anybody that doesn't know that story, I was part of a radio show and they were being inducted into the Hall of Fame and they were actually coming to Cleveland for the inductions and we were going. And so we told everybody that afternoon, yo man, they're going to show up, they're playing a pre-party in our parking lot. And like thousands of cars started to show up, the cops got involved and it was like a big thing. And like to this day, I'll be in a grocery store and I'll just hear over my shoulder, Metallica in the parking lot, man. I hear it all the time. Like all the time I hear it. And people say, how come you don't do stuff? Because you can't. Hey man, Metallica's going to be here. They're going to play in the parking lot this afternoon. No, they're not. I'm looking at Lars's Instagram. They're still in Indianapolis right now. How the hell are they going to do that? Like, there's so much information out there now, it is harder to do. Which is why the April Fool's jokes are tipping people's shopping carts over and telling them to clean it up for the views. Because you can debunk pretty much anything 20 seconds after anything gets posted now. So when I saw that email go out last week, I was like, why is he even telling intelligent people this? Most of us are just going to look at this day and be like, yeah, man, that whole thing's kind of over. April Fool's Day, it's over. It's like not a thing. We do have the Black Keys. That will be in October, and it will be at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Let's get caller 12 in right now. 330-450-7625. It's toll-free at 800-243-7625 on those Black Keys tickets, and we'll close out the program, and we'll do it next.
Live from the Hall of Fame City, and just as bad as NFL officiating, The Stansberry Show on Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to The Stansberry Show, where Gary and Nilly out of Louisville, won his way into seeing the Black Keys. That show on a Saturday night in October, Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. I'll have tickets for you every morning this week on the show. Looking forward to that. They were damn good, man. I've gotten lucky enough to see them a couple of times. I remember once upon a time I was out of work. I was in between MMS and NCX. And that was self-imposed. I could have been at like 3 different stations. I was like, nah, I'm going to wait this out, see what happens, right? And but I wasn't doing much. I was like in a very depressed state about like where things were. My buddy Rodney hit me up. He's like, yo, man. He's like, Marty and I got you an extra ticket for the Black Keys. He's like, we'll pick you up in 20 minutes. You're going. And I didn't want to go at all. And we ended up going. And that was at, I think that was at Nautica where we saw them that night. They were great. It was like 200 degrees. It was like so hot. But they were awesome that night. And then I got lucky enough to see them again last summer at Blossom. And we had really good seats for that too, and they were great. I mean, they're a fun live band, and they're very good. I kind of like that sound. I'm into that sound. As a matter of fact, I own all of their albums on vinyl. I'm a big vinyl collector, and I was happy to acquire those on vinyl. But Gary won his way in today, and I'll get you in tomorrow. I meant to get this on the program today, and I'm just going to cram it here at the end. We may dig this back open again tomorrow, but apparently a Disney attraction had to shut down because people are spreading their ashes on it. Apparently Rise of the Resistance, this is a Star Wars themed ride down there at Disney. And, you know, the Star Wars fans, and I would have to have my hand raised here as I am in that camp, they're nuts, right? Like, they're nutty. And they kind of take the fandom to a whole new level, right? Most fans of any kind of, like, niche thing, will do that, right? And apparently, people are trying to leave the ashes of people who, like, love Star Wars, who were important to them, and somebody had been spreading ashes on the Rise of the Resistance at Disneyland, and according to some reports, they had to, like, shut the ride down and the like. And, you know, is it actually somebody's ashes is what people want to know, you know, in the comment sections at San Francisco Gate, where I saw the story first the other day. Or is this influencers who are telling you they have grandma's ashes in the urn or whatever the hell it is, and they're just trying to screw with people? And it's like, well, yeah, it could be that. It could absolutely be that. I've never really understood the death thing. God, does this microphone sound bad when I move it? Sorry about that. I'll have to get some WD-40 in here. I've never really understood it. I think being buried is one of the most egotistical things a person can do. Taking up land after you're dead. Yeah, I'm out on that. Died in service to this country? Okay, I'll bury you. President? All right, I'll bury you. Outside of that, get your ass in the oven. What are we talking about here? You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand it. Everybody talks about the, you know, the housing market, and all these companies have all of the, you know, they have all the inventory and blah, blah, blah. And the CEO sold my future out from underneath me, man. Nobody talks about the fact that there's just fields of land with dead bodies in them where we could have built houses instead. That's never going to be part of this conversation. Now, I'm a golfer, so you know I'm going to take this part a little personally. You know they're shutting down golf courses in other countries, right? To continue so they can use the land for parks for people to use. Psst. A golf course is a park that I'm using, you douche. It's not my fault they don't want to learn the game. But we have an argument over land in this country over a million different ways. Dead people buried here. That's okay? I'm sorry. No. I know, they're not homeless, they're unhoused is the new word. You're laughing, but I'm telling you, that's the new thing now. They're unhoused. Until they force them to you to take them into your house. Until that happens, you left. Take a look at Denver. Anyway, but I did not accomplish enough in my life to take up space when I'm dead. Dead. It's over. I don't get at all. So I am more about the cremation. If you want to be planted as a tree or whatever the hell, that's probably fine, right? Trees have benefit to the people who are still alive. The headstone has zero benefit to the people that are still alive. Now, I do view this differently. My better half and I view this completely different. she takes the kids to, the cemetery, and they visit her mother's headstone, and they do that, and they leave flowers there, and that's important for her, and she feels connected to that. And so I'm always like, okay, like, I'm not on her about the fact that it's egotistical. I'm on those of us that are still alive to make the decisions for ourselves that I feel like it's egotistical. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Stansbury, if we all agree that we're not going to be buried, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to use the land appropriately, so I might as well be buried. All right, I suppose. I like the cremation. My father was cremated. My mother has a wish that his ashes be spread